Shalom, Kol Laimla, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rukwah Kadash. All praises be to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His Son and our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai. Much respect and honor to the brothers that are doing the work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so, pushing this gospel throughout the four corners of the earth. Salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered abroad, and double honor and respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Coming back at you with another lesson, visiting the comment board. So there was a brother that asked me if I could go into Ezekiel chapter 10. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, I'll do that. Adawan Ratazah. So we go here. The book of Ezekiel chapter 10, which is connected to chapter 1. So the chariots of the Lord are nothing new. As a matter of fact, there is a very famous Egyptian hieroglyphic that shows the chariots. It looks identical to what we're looking at right here, which goes to show that there's nothing new under the sun, as the Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1. There is no new thing under the sun. So the Egyptians remember very well the deadly attack of the chariots with fire that led the children of Israel out of ancient Egypt from under the hands of the Egyptian oppressors. Let's go here to the book of Ezekiel chapter 10. The book of Ezekiel chapter 10, verse 1. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. So Yahweh Shai sits on the right hand of the most ancient of days. So these angels and these chariots, they're around the glory of the throne of the Most High and His Son. Verse 2, Ezekiel 10, verse 2. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even under the cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubims, and scatter them over the city. And he went in my sight. So they have the ability to emit fire, no different from what they use in ancient Sodom and Gomorrah. So the angels do the work of the Lord. Matter of fact, let's go here first. Not there. Let's go to Isaiah 6. Isaiah 6. The book of Isaiah chapter 6, verse 1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and His train filled the temple. See? So around His throne is fire, smoke, and brimstone, or the appearance thereof. And these angels are around the essence of His glory. Isaiah 6 and 2. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain He covered His face, and with twain He covered His feet, and with twain did He fly. They have the ability to fly like an eagle, so to speak. Let's go back to Ezekiel 10, verse 1. Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them, as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne. Sapphire has a blue color. Verse 2. And he spake unto the man clothed with linen, and said, Go in between the wheels, even under the cherub, and fill thine hand with coals of fire from between the cherubims, and scatter them over the city. And he went in my sight. Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court. So when you see these, let's go to, what did Moses see? Let's go to Numbers. Numbers 12. It's a scary sight to see the glory of the throne of the Lord and fiery flames, smoke. Let's go to Numbers chapter 12, where Yahweh shows up with a fiery chariot. Let's see if I can find it right here. Gotta go up to 1. Numbers 12 and 1. And Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. Israelite men have always married into the women of the other nations, although strongly discouraged. Verse 2, and they said, Have the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. So they murmured against Moses, a man of the Lord. Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, Come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. So the Lord travels with fire and smoke around his throne and habitation, around a chariot, a scary, dreadful sight to see, the essence of the glory of the Lord, a pillar of a cloud. Let's go back to Ezekiel 10. Ezekiel 10, verse 3. Now the cherubim stood on the right side of the house when the man went in, and the cloud filled the inner court. Smoke, sparks, flames, tempests. And you have angels, big, buff, dark-skinned men that look like all they do is lift weights with 6 wings around them. They're not playing. Ezekiel 10, verse 4. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub and stood over the threshold of the house, and the house was filled with the cloud, and the court was full of the brightness of the Lord's glory. Let's look up this word cherub. Cherub comes from the Hebrew
Strong's H3742. Keruv. Keruv.
Okay. An angelic being. And when you see the word highlighted here, cherubims, it's just the plural form, multiple or many. Look at this at the bottom. as the chariot of Yahweh. See, I described this. I was in the spirit. Check this out. Flanking the Most High's throne. So they're on the side or each side of his throne, like guardian angels. See, flanking. Okay, I got interrupted, so I'm going to have to pick up where I left off. So I talked about these angels or the chariots flanking the throne of the Most High. So we'll go ahead and continue from there. Let's go back. Ezekiel 10, verse 4. Then the glory of the Lord went up from the cherub and stood over the threshold of the house. And the house was filled with the cloud, and the court was full of the brightness of the Lord's glory. And the sound of the cherubim's wings were heard even to the outer court, as the voice of the Almighty when he speak. Now this sounds like the sound of a whirlwind. Let's see if we can find that. That's the sound of these chariots. Let's just go here. Find an example when that happened. Let's try Jeremiah. It's one of my favorites. Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 30, verse 22. And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. So it is a sound of thunder, lightning, and wind. So a tempest. Matter of fact, let's go to Psalms 83. Psalms 83. Yes, let's go down. Psalms 83, verse 11. Let's go up to 10. Book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 9. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Yabin, and the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor, they became as dung for the earth. The Lord has a history of using the chariots to bring out judgment, which perished at Endor, they became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zaab, yea, all their princes as Zabah and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to our possessions the house of God in possession, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. So the Lord has a history of using the chariots to bestow judgment upon the heads of the enemies of Israel. See, Ezekiel 10, Verse 5. And the sound of the cherubim's wings was heard even to the outer court, as the voice of the Almighty when he speak. And it came to pass that when he had commanded the man clothed with linen, saying, Take fire from between the wheels, from between the cherubims, then he went in and stood beside the wheels. These are angels clothed in linen, just like we read about in Ezekiel chapter 9. Okay, I won't go to it for sake of time. But we can read about that also in Acts, in the book of Acts, chapter 1. The angels stood there describing the same way Yahushua left. He shall return in like manner. Okay, we're going to keep going. All right, let's keep going. Ezekiel 10, verse 6. And it came to pass that when he had commanded the man clothed with linen, saying, Take fire from between the wheels, from between the cherubims, then he went in and stood beside the wheels. And one cherub stretched forth his hand from between the cherubims unto the fire that was between the cherubims, and took thereof, and put it into the hands of him that was clothed with linen, who took it and went out. And there appeared in the cherubims the form of a man's hands under their wings. And when I looked, behold, the four wheels by the cherubims, one wheel by one cherub, and another wheel by another cherub, and the appearance of the wheels was as the color of beryl stone. So we'll go from there to Ezekiel 1. See, the vision of four figures. So Ezekiel saw this in chapter 1. He saw these figures. And these are angels, the appearance of a man. Let's go here. Matter of fact, let's go to Daniel 10 real quick. Daniel 10. If I can remember where it's at. The book of Daniel, chapter 10. Let's jump down to verse 18. Daniel 10. Let's go to verse 15. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face towards the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men. What is the similitude of the sons of men? Angels. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spake and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision of my sorrows are turned unto me, and I have retained no strength. For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway there remain no strength in me, neither is there breath left in me. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of man, and he strengthened me. See, an angel, and said, O man, greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee. Be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened and said, Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. See, let's go from there about the angel touching the prophets or touching their lips. Let's go to Isaiah 6. Same thing happened with prophet Isaiah. Isaiah 6:2. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. His chamber doors opened, and there's smoke and fire coming out from underneath the tabernacle. Same thing that prophet Moses witnessed. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Yahushua. Verse 6. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged. See, Yahushua has that ability to forgive sins or to cleanse our iniquities. Matter of fact, let's go to Exodus 23:20. See, same thing with Daniel. An angel visited him and touched him, or gave him a vision too. See, Exodus 23, verse 20. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. The Spirit of the Most High, Yahweh, is in Yahushua, which is the breath and the image of the most ancient of days. See? Now let's go to Ezekiel 1. Before we do, Ezekiel 10. Oh, let's go back to 1. Ezekiel 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives of the river of Chebar, that the heavens were open, and I saw visions of God. So he's seeing a portal open in a vision. Verse 2, in the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Joachim's captivity, the word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, the son of Bazi, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Chebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. That hand, that right arm, is Yahushua, and he travels with a host of heaven, angels. Now, Ezekiel was in the Babylonian captivity time frame. Verse 4, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Amber looks like a yellow gold or a gold yellow mixture. Verse 5, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. See, angels. We keep seeing that. The likeness of a man. Where else did we read that? Well, we'll go to, once again, Daniel 10 and 18. Daniel 10 and 18. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me. See? The angel of the Lord. Now let's go back. Ezekiel 1, verse 5. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. So Yahushua travels with angels, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the side of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. So-called black men that looked like ninjas, with the ninja boots with the 2 toes. And they had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides, and they had 4 faces in their wings. I'm not going to read all of this. So this is what we're reading in Ezekiel 10. He is witnessing Yahushua, or the angel of the Lord, with his cohorts of angels on a small scale. Ezekiel 10 and 9. And when I looked, behold, the 4 wheels by the cherubims, and 1 wheel by 1 cherub, and another wheel by another cherub, and the appearance of the wheels was as the color of beryl stone, green. And that is an indicator of Yahushua with that color on or around him. Where do I want to go from there? I had a brain freeze. Oh, okay. See, let's go here. Psalms 18. See, there's that smoke again. Fire and brimstone. Psalms 18 and 8. In my distress, I called upon the Lord and cried unto my power. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even unto his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundation. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations also of the hills moved and were shaken, because he was wroth. So he's coming with all power and a great force, tempest, fire, and he's going to shake the foundations of the earth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. High energy, concentrated laser beam fire. He bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub and did fly. Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. So he even floated or hovered on the top of a smaller ship. Ezekiel 10, verse 10. And as for their appearances, they four had one likeness, as if a wheel had been in the midst of a wheel in the middle of a wheel. They have a rotating or a centrifugal force that's turning in a circular motion. Verse 11, when they went upon their four sides. They turned not as they went, but to the place whither the head looked, they followed it. They turned not as they went. So they can travel in a right angle maneuvers. They have right angle maneuvers. They can just be on the ground or hovering and go straight up and then make a sharp right without turning. They just zip straight up and then right or left. They don't have to turn because they're not subject under the laws of physics and gravity like we are. They're from the fourth dimension, and their whole body and their backs and their hands and their wings and the wheels were full of eyes round about, even the wheels that they had. So he's seeing lights coming out of small pockets that appear to be windows. Here's some images that I got from the beloved head of the Birmingham, GMS Birmingham. Keep going. Had no intentions of making this long. As for the wheels, it was cried unto them in my hearing, O will, and every one had four faces. The first face was the face of a cherub, and the second face was the face of a man, and the third the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle. Strength, power, flight, and the intellectual being of a man. Even when you look at that word demon, it means intellectual being. And the other nations would call the power of the Most High Alashadja, demon-like power. But he's also literally seeing these images. The angels have strength, power, speed, and flight. Let's go to verse 15. And the cherubims were lifted up. This is the living creature that I saw by the river of Kabar. Let's look at this Kabar. It's the region of ancient Babylon. It's right here. See? So it's right at the mouth, towards the mouth of the Euphrates River. You can see the arrow pointing right here. Ancient Babylon, that's modern day Iraq. It's right there. And here's a close up image or picture where the prophet Ezekiel was standing. The river Kabar, which is beautiful. Looks like the Midwest of America, Native American lands. So this is where he was standing. Okay, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. So I don't get confused. All right. Ezekiel 10, verse 15. Back to 15. And the cherubims were lifted up. This is the living creature that I saw by the river of Kabar. And when the cherubims went, the wheels went by them. And when the cherubims lifted up their wings to mount up from the earth, the same wheels also turned not beside them. So they don't have to fold landing gear or wheels to land or maneuver. They don't need a runway or an airstrip. This is what they do. They can just jet up straight into the sky, and they can go underneath the water. And I failed to talk about that much. They can literally, because they're not bound by the elements, they have dominion over the elements: air, water, fire. See? So they can literally dive into the water and wave at Leviathan if they want. The sea creature. They're not bound by the earthly or by this realm's laws of physics. Verse 19. Ezekiel 10, verse 19. And the cherubims lifted up their wings and mounted up from the earth in my sight. When they turned, went out, the wheels also were beside them, and everyone stood at the door of the east gate of the Lord's house, and the glory of the Lord God of Israel was over them above. This is the living creature that I saw under the God of Israel by the river Kabar, and I knew that they were the cherubims. I knew that they were angels of the Lord, traveling in transport vessels. Verse 21. Every one had 4 faces apiece, and every one 4 wings, and the likeness of the hands of a man was under their wings. So they're in the image of man. Verse 22. And the likeness of their faces were the same faces which I saw by the river of Kabar. Their appearance and themselves, they went every one straight forward. So they have advanced maneuver tactics and techniques that are not known in this world, in this realm. Let's get ready to close out. See what I've missed. Daniel, Daniel saw a similar vision. See, prophet Daniel. Now we also went to Daniel 10, chapter 10. Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. See, the Son of Man is being presented here. He travels with the cherubims, angels. Daniel 7, verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Yahweh came to the Most High. First of all, people say he's not in the Old Testament. That's because they're bugged out. He is in the Old Testament. And him and Yahweh and the Heavenly Father are two separate beings. They're not the same. The most ancient of days is above time, and he created the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, which is Yahweh, which is the angel of the Lord. Daniel 7:13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So I went here to show Yahweh traveling or moving with the clouds of heaven, the chariots of the Lord. All right, let's get one more then. We'll get one more and close out. So he's coming back in like manner. That's spoken of in the book of Acts, chapter 1. He travels with the clouds, which are smaller ships or smaller chariots, smaller so-called UFOs. See, Revelation 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. I am Alpha and Omega. So he was created. This is showing you that this is not the Most High. It's the Son of the Most High that we read in Daniel 7. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is and which was and which is to come, the Almighty. So he comes in the volume of the book. And when you see that word, by the way, in Ezekiel chapter 1 or Ezekiel 10:1, the face of these angels, let's go to that real quick. Their faces or their likeness comes from the Hebrew.
Strong's H 6440. Panim. Panim. Gesenius Lexicon. Penuel. Penuel. Second entry. Peniel. Peniel.
So the word that should stick out is right here, countenance, which is describing their overall presence as well.
Countenance.
See, appearance, the way that someone or something looks, expression. One more that stood out to me that I saw earlier. Well, that's enough. That's pretty much it. Expression, visage, their faces that he saw as well. And it also gets into their presence. Hopefully this lesson has been edifying. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, the Hashem Kwakadash. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala and Ibad Babal. Barakathum. Shalom.